blatant racism was the greatest benefit to black people more than the illusion of inclusion.
Street Nasheed right here in Los Angeles, making it do what it do, man. Y'all check out Black Authentic Truth. Get some real good games on YouTube. Black Authentic Truth, man. Check it out, man. Real good information.
Yes, blatant racism was better than the illusion of inclusion. That was a benefit to black people, blatant racism. Now, let me just explain what I'm talking about. Now, so when you look at the problems, the woes of the black community, you have a lot of think tanks, you have a lot of black people, Republicans, Democrats, whatever the case may be, that are, trying to figure out what is the issue with black people? How can we become a better people? What is the answer? You understand? So when you really look at history, right? You look at history and you see that we were better off when we were segregated. We were better off at a time when we suffered blatant racism, bigotry, and prejudice. So we wanted to be a part of certain things, but we could not be a part of those things. And so we made our own. It forced us to actually come together, love one another, and do what all people already do. The problem is that we were cut off and our history and our knowledge of self was wiped away. So we didn't have anything to fall back on once we got out of slavery, but to look at the people, Americans, and try to emulate and do what they were doing. But we could not do that because it was blatant racism and prejudice against us. And so we ended up integrating. And when we integrated, all the things that we have built, all the things that we had in our own infrastructure in the black community, we lost those things. The black businesses, all of those things we lost, they died out because we were now patronizing white businesses. We were integrated. So now we're going to, white department stores, white grocery stores. And so we were no longer dealing with one another in the way that we did like in Black Wall Street, for example. And so that is the premise of what my argument is, that blatant racism forced us to be better. It forced us to love one another. It forced us to understand is that all we really needed was one another. So I know a lot of y'all probably wondering, what is this illusion of inclusion? And I'm going to explain what the illusion of inclusion is. So basically, once we integrated, we were able to, be in high places of government. We were able to attain certain kind of jobs. Black people, you see, are now successful as individuals. You had people that were in the military, high ranking, a lot of different things, celebrities, athletes in the public eye. And so from the outside, it looks like black people are doing really good. When you look at magazines, when you look at television, and today, even when you look at social media, you think that black people are doing really good. Black people were admitted into colleges. They had programs for black people to easily access college. Things like that is what I'm talking about, the illusion of inclusion. It's just an illusion because when you really look at black people, a lot of things haven't changed since the 1970s. As far as black people being on an equal playing field, we haven't attained that. Now, if you want to talk about individual accolades, individual accomplishments, oh, of course. Yeah, you can name it. You can name hundreds of black people that have gotten to certain levels or have been the first black person to ever do it. Even today in 2023, going into 2024, you see that you'll still hear, oh, she's the first black woman to do this. He's the first black vice president for this company. It's because we didn't really integrate, we assimilated. So in order to integrate, it would have been that we would have been on an equal standing with white America. And we know that we're not on an equal standing with white America. So the problems that we see in our community that we are always talking about and debating about, especially people on the right, black people who are black Republicans or Democrats, these problems are problems that will always be there because you got to understand there is a status quo, and we'll never be equal with the status quo. We'll never be equal with white America. So these issues about what we need to do in the black community to bring it from here to up here where the white community is, it'll never happen. It's an illusion of inclusion. And it's tricky because you have things to say, well, okay, he made it. He's an Olympian. She made it. She's the vice president of this bank. He made it. He did this. She did this. She did that. You have individual accolades, people who have made it to the top, have done very good for themselves in the black community. And so people look at that and say, well, what is the excuse for all black people? The problem is it's an illusion. That's the problem. The problem is that it's not reality. Okay. And so when I say racism benefited us, I'm not saying that us being lynched, us being attacked, us being, hurt for the prejudice, because of the prejudice of white society, it was a good thing. I'm saying that the attitude towards us was a good thing because we stuck together and we were self-sufficient. And that is something you haven't seen. Now, when you look at those historically black colleges, those colleges were built during that time. You understand? Those towns, those black towns were built during that time. They haven't been built since. Since integration, they haven't been built. So that is why I say that blatant racism, that prejudice was better, and it was a benefit to black people more than the illusion of inclusion. Let me know what you think about this video. Give me your thoughts, your opinions on this topic. And with that, this is Black Authentic Truth.